As young adults, Jake, Peter, Sean, Deanie, Brody and Connor had an idyllic existence. They would hang out together at parties, drinking and socializing, throwing their individual social statuses around free from the constraints of society and the worries of adulthood. But as they grew older, the warm blanket of youth slowly slipped away, and the entropy of life began to set in. They found themselves spiraling down a path they couldn't control, and soon they were faced with a horror they never could have imagined. It started with strange occurrences, unexplained noises in the rooms next door, shadows moving in the dark outside the parties they were at. They brushed it off as their imagination, or maybe more likely, the Mandy. But when one of their friends, Sean, disappeared, the reality of their situation became all too clear. Someone was stalking them, and they didn't know why. As they fought to survive, they came to realize that the actions of a man not following the status quo could lead to the most abhorrent of consequences. In this case, it all led to the horrific story you are about to hear. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months. Their best friend in the whole wide world was gone, vanished. The guys were the main attractions at Warden's funeral, soaking up the majority of the attention, more so than the bodiless coffin about to go 6 feet deep. A tear was shed, but more importantly though, Brody, Sean's best friend, stood up beside the remembrance portrait of Sean to make a speech. "I am turning 18 soon." Invites were then swiftly handed out for a birthday party that was scheduled to occur on the anniversary of the disappearance of Sean. Brody Flynn was turning 18 again. A fantastic excuse, for the group that labeled themselves as the Lil Boys, to get together and celebrate a life forgotten with a party to remember. As the little boys were handing out the invites for the party, Jake noticed a familiar face in the crowd. The figure was evading Jake's distant scrutiny but held the appearance and body shape similar to that of the long-forgotten Bruce Arthur Duncan that he used to tolerate at school. He thought, surely that can't be Bruce, he never gets invited to anything, why would he be at Sean's funeral? He soon brushed it off as he was too busy thinking about this party to care. That is not to say he didn't take heed of this strange occurrence. A newspaper thrown from a paper boy lands in Peter's garden. The date, 21st of April 2017, the anniversary of the disappearance of Sean Warden. Oh, and also, the 18th birthday party of Brody, the Bull, Flynn. This was not the date of Brody's 21st birthday, rather, his 18th. The little boys meet up in the city center for their typical shopping and eating spree before the party that night. As they exit H&M, Connor turns to Jake and says, "Premium cotton, big man, what a feeling, what a life. What a dealio." Jake replies, "You had me at premium." The lil boys walking with the heads held high through the city center in Dundee, a Starbucks in one hand and a shaved eyebrow in the other. Jake and Brody had shaved slits into their eyebrows and the other guys had embarrassed them. Deanie and Peter were walking side by side. Peter stated, "I love Arsenal." Deanie then replied, "I love Arsenal, you dinna love them as much as me." Peter, pissed off, turned around and shouted, "I love the Gooners." Brody then asked, "If it's my birthday, then why is no one even talking to me then?" Connor then replied, "Broads man, maybe, because it's not your birthday man. Love you though man, don't change man dingo." They were walking through the center of the town all laughing at how long Brody was taking to tell a story, when Jake noticed that familiar face again. A rather unassuming, small, hunched-over boy with a red Arc'teryx jacket on, wearing glasses akin to that of the common geography teacher. The figure approached the group. "Jake?" Bruce Arthur Duncan said whilst standing on his tippy toes, "I haven't seen you for years and years, my best friend. Did you get a new number and a new house and a new email address or something?" Jake replied with, "Oh, hi Bruce, no I haven't, I guess I've just been busy, sorry about that." Bruce, looking emaciated as ever, goes for Jake's sandwich. "I hope you don't mind, I haven't eaten today and I'm hungry. Aren't you going to introduce me to your friends? They look really lovely and maybe they could be my friends too one day." Jake takes a second to process, then stands to the side, firstly pointing at Peter and working his way around the group, introducing them to Bruce. Bruce asks very softly, "So, what are you guys up to tonight?" Jake then looks very uncomfortable. Connor takes charge of the conversation. "I don't think we have anything planned." Peter lets out a laugh. The rest of the group soon burst out laughing. "We are sorry but we need to go, Bruce, nice to meet you." The little boys proceed by walking away, glancing back at Bruce and sniggering. Deanie says, "I can't believe that fucking cuntbag, he's an absolute walloper, eh?" Brody, talking whilst holding in laughter, offed, Were you friends with that guys in school? Jake, knowing full well that Bruce was his best friend in school, says, "No, that guy was a loser, he was never my friend." Bruce stays planted in the same spot. He opens a birthday card. The birthday card says, "Happy birthday Bruce, from your best friend Jake." Bruce, knowing that he wrote this card himself, starts to tear it up and throws it into the bin beside the desperate Dan statue. At this moment Bruce realized that he was being more desperate than Dan himself. It was time for a change. He looked off into the distance as Jake and the guys disappeared into the overgate. "You will regret this," he muttered as he walked off. Brody, happy as ever, welcomes all his guests to his party, ensuring that every single person he invited has indeed came. Everyone who hadn't was sent a message. "Are we even friends? Why are you not here? Do you even like me?" Peter turns down the music and stands in a bin before he clears his throat. He says, "Happy birthday to Brody, you're finally 18 met." Everyone burst out laughing and the music is turned up, and continues to blare whilst everyone gets fucked up on poppers. All you can hear is the loud muttering of chatting and the booming music. Through all the noise, a scream, clear as day, a scream. A boy-shaped man was wielding a rather large knife, whilst standing over a body. He was standing over the body of Huzi. Brody yelled, "How could you do this, you maniac? Does anyone actually like me?" Jake shouts, "What have you done? I can't believe he's dead." Connor, literally just in the middle of toasting the anniversary of Sean Warden's death, with Peter and Deanie, was in shock. He cried, "I'm in disbelief. Huzi was deadwood and we were planning on kicking him out. Now we don't have to. I can't believe I'm saying this. Thank you. Who are you?" The dark figure, not acknowledging anyone, begins a dark monologue. "My birthday on the anniversary of Sean's death. I wasn't sure I was going to find myself another gift this year. But here we are, another one of you down, dead." The man drops his hood and looks straight at Jake. The man is Bruce Arthur Duncan. Nobody seen this coming. "Jake, I initially just wanted your friends dead so I could have you all to myself. But I don't know you now. It appears I'm dead to you, so you have to die. I am sorry, truly sorry. This is the way it has to be." Bruce, with tears in his eyes, starts to notice a strange atmosphere in the room. A feeling of acceptance. A moment goes by. Peter then takes the floor. "So, Brucey Wussy, can I call you that?" "Yeah, let me get this right. You killed Sean last year?" Bruce nods. "Yeah, I still have his body in my cupboard." Jake then steps forward. "You did what all of us didn't have the strength to do. Thank you." Brody approached Bruce with a smile and a rather unfortunate fold in the front of his jeans. He hands Bruce a beer and says, "Welcome to my 18th birthday party, Matt." Deanie raises a glass of soda pop and says, "Let's raise a glass to the newest member of the Lil Boys." Bruce says, "I have to move this body, but after that I will be back to party you Mets. Save some poppies for me please." Bruce put Huzi over his shoulder and as he was leaving he turned back and with gun fingers pointed at the guys and said, "Bruce Arthur Duncan, remember the name." All the guys look at each other, screwing up their faces as they were cringing really hard at what Bruce had just said. Had they made the right decision asking Bruce to join the Little Boys? As Bruce returns from putting Huzi's body in his cupboard beside Sean's, he enters the party with a swagger, looking about 10 feet tall and smoking a blue Rezo Elf bar. A girl stops him in the hallway. "Who the fuck are you? You weren't invited." Bruce punts her in the face and then in the ribs as she's laying crying on the floor. "Sorry, that's the only way I know how to speak to girls, especially those that are in wheelchairs." The girls around her pick her off the ground and place her back into her wheelchair. "That's okay Bruce, you're a lil boy now. I didn't realize. I am so sorry. I'll get out of your way sir." Bruce marches on past and into the living room where the boys welcome him with open arms. Bruce turns off the music and says, "Let's get this party started." He plays his own music and approaches the Lil Boys in the center of the dance floor. The Little Boys proceed to have one of the best 18th birthdays that Brody Flynn has ever had in his life, so far. Bruce had obviously regained his confidence and was no longer that man in a small boy's body. His chest puffed out and exuding confidence, his spine was straighter than it had ever been and everyone knew it. Everyone. This was the night that set the course of history as we know it. Bruce was accepted into the crew through the most unconventional means, but he was happy. Connor said to Bruce, "I know not to talk to any of these guys about this because they'd laugh. But would you by any chance be interested in chatting about airplanes?" Bruce's eyes lit up. He didn't actually like to talk about planes, but he saw this as an opportunity to make his way in with one of the most popular little boys. "Oh, yeah, I love talking about big and small aeroplanes, Matt. Love it." Connor was beside himself with joy, but kept it cool. Sweet man, maybe I could sling you some messages or something," he said. Bruce replies, "Oh yeah, sure, I really can't wait for you to sling them to me." The night ended with the promise of a night out in the recent future. A night out that they would soon come to realize was unforgettable. Bruce was invited. He smiled in his pants. The night out was in full swing. This night out was regarded in hindsight as the initiation of Bruce. Bruce had turned up in his best clothes with a fresh new haircut. He took a Snapchat for his Snapchat story because he was feeling fly. He was fitting in nicely and some jokes were flying around about what he had been doing to Sean and Hoozy's bodies. It was all fun and games. Bruce was being serious though. Anyway, the guys were all walking to Clarky's at the end of the night. Peter had sealed a long-legged beauty. We all knew his type, so we weren't super surprised. He turns to Bruce, "You'll come to realize I like them tall and gloopy." Brody had also pulled. He sent a Snapchat to the lads saying, "Thanks for a great night, boys. I brought my little piggy poo in my pocket so that if I pulled I could be safe and have him close to me. I'll just be sitting like this until this little girl wakes up in the morning, think she's turning 18 soon too, or maybe in a couple years or so." Connor climbed to the very top of a 3-meter-tall van. He joyfully sang some songs and fell off directly onto a cobble, smashing his knee into a million tiny little pieces. Bruce looked at Connor, in pain on the floor. He was getting a kick out of this. He considered the idea of chucking Connor into his cupboard as he had plenty space beside the other bodies in his cupboard. However, this was a turning point in Bruce's life. He held out his absolutely massive hand. He said to Connor, "Get up you cunt, let's get you home." From that moment, Bruce Arthur Duncan chose to love. From that moment he chose us. Bruce helped Connor to his feet. He then linked in with Connor, and on the way home, a special moment occurred. An Airbus 766 flew overhead. Connor was staring at the ground and upset whilst hobbling up the road whilst Bruce was helping him. Bruce looked at the Airbus 766 and back at the sad Connor who had not noticed yet. Bruce, knowing what he had to do, taps Connor on the shoulder. "Hey buddy boy, we pal, take a look." Bruce points to the sky. Connor's eyes lit up like a puppy's. Suddenly his knee started to feel absolutely fine. He started skipping. Bruce held on and enjoyed this moment of pure wonder and excitement with his new friend. He was happy. And maybe he did actually like planes after all. This Airbus 766 had a part attached to the wing that was brand new wing attachment technology, and for some reason this gave Bruce a little tingly feeling in his nipples. From this moment on, Bruce and Connor would discuss parts of aeroplanes and technological advancements of wings and tails of planes. I bet you wonder who was telling this story. That's right, it was me, Daisy McAllister. I said I was stepping down from voice acting, but guess what? I never will. I wanted to tell this important and impactful story about the origins of Bruce Arthur Duncan. He was a young boy who was down and out on his luck. He had lost his best friends post-high school, then he worked hard on himself, killing Sean and Hoozer in soulless acts of genius. He garnered respect from Jake, Brody, Peter, Connor and Deanie. From that moment on he said he would never kill again, unless Deanie didn't shut up about how upset he was about the death of Hoozer. My name is Daisy McAllister, and you have just listened to Uninvited by Daisy, the dog, McAllister. Thank you. Cash me outside.